In today's episode, we'll be building a massive aluminium plant that kind of looks like this. Alright, time to get to work, I suppose. Alright, welcome to the office. This is where we're going to do our planning for our aluminium build process. So, overall goal, aluminium production, outlet sheets, and aluminium casings. And we're going to use about 1,500 bauxite, as you can see there. So we're importing at the moment 380 copper ingots, 1,500 bauxite, they're from the Rocky Coast area, 750 coal, and 1,250 silica, all coming from the Rocky Desert. We are locally producing 1,500 water. So if we move over here, we can see exactly what we need to construct and what they need to be set to. So our 6 water extractors are currently pumping out 1,500. Well, they're on standby at the moment. We got 16 refineries trying to make, that needs to make aluminium solution, also 1,500 a minute. We've got 8 refineries pumping out aluminium scrap. That's going to be at a rate of about 2,250. And then the foundry is going to turn that into ingot, 1,500. So we're going to need 20 of those foundries. We're going to need 4 assemblers for 1,140 L-clad sheets. And then aluminium casings from 20 constructors at about 360. So that's our final goal, is L-clad sheets and aluminium casings. So let's just go over here to the observation point. And after a little testing, this is kind of what I got to. So we'll jump down there in a moment, but there's our water extractors. We've already done that one, and we've laid the pipework all the way to where we need to go. What we want to do right now, though, is we want to pull. So there's a train station bringing all the raw resources. So we're going to pull that all the way down that little bendy bit right to where the pipes are at the moment. So let's jump down there. So I'll show you guys how I did this little bendy bit here, because this looks kind of cool. I think this looks really nice. And I'm going to do the exact same method for that little bendy bit for this bus coming in with all the raw supplies. I'm going to first just get the foundations and pull them from the train station, because I want this to be level all the way. And the trick that I'm going to use is you need to kind of start off at a level point. So and then the way this one works is I'm going to grab a rail and I'm going to use its splines that it does to help me use the splines that the railways now have with 1.1. I'm going to use that to my advantage to get nice smooth curves. Alright, so this is where it's going to end up. So let me grab the rail, and I want it to end here. Let's give it a little bit of a straight section to end off with. I think that might be beneficial. Let's do it from here. So all I want to do now is I kind of want to aim for the middle as far as it will go. And I'm just kind of lining it up, just basically eyeballing it. Grabbing this one. And then I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to do the same as I did on the other side. Go about halfway, so just make sure you get it nice and lined up here. So there's the curve, although you can see it's not as good as it can be. And the easy fix for this will be to just add a block signal here, which will cut the railway, basically right there. And I'm going to do another one there, and then I'm going to delete the middle bits. And then link this all up. So obviously don't cut too far out, otherwise you're gonna have to redo it. So if we go back now, you can see that's a much more gentle curve. So it's gonna come out here, it's gonna go around, and once you're happy with it, then you're golden. So yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so now we need something to attach to. So what works quite well with rails is anything in this category. So any of these will snap quite fine to the rail. So I'm going to use this one, and what I want to do is I just want to spread it out fairly evenly. So we're going to go, I think let's do in the middle. Right, so now we can remove the rail because we've got the curve that we need, and we've got our marker. So now you can see now you've got something to snap to, which is obviously exactly what we want. So place that on top, go down one. Actually, I'm going to switch this to default. Snap it on top, go down one, and down one, and down one. And there we go. Now you can see it kind of taking shape now. Okay, so we need to do this for all the lines going down, so I can fit my 6 belts that's going to be making up the bus. So let's do this for all of these now. The way that you connect all of these now is take the beam, I'm going to go into the halfway mark here, go to free mode and halfway mark there. So just make sure that you grab that center point every time. Alright, so now we've got this beam set out here, which looks pretty cool as it is. Now, like I was saying, unfortunately, we now need to delete all of these. So all I'm doing now is, since you're putting it in, you can see it's essentially on it clips to, or snaps to the center point. If you go 4 in and 4 to the left, then you'll be exactly on that point there. And I'm just going to do this now for all of these. Right, so now you guys can see it actually works out quite nice. All we need to do now is just fill the little gaps in between. So there we go. Nice. This looks pretty good. Right, so we don't need this anymore. We can dump this now. And there you go, perfect curved little bus system. Very, very nice. Okay, so now we've joined these two up. So this is going to go along the lift, and it's going to go all the way up, and I'm going to run the pipes on this side going up. So that should be interesting. Right, we'll come back and clean this up later. I want to focus on getting the refineries up and running. The idea that I worked out here is to have a refinery on this edge, which will be all the ones for the aluminium scrap. I think it's going to be 8 and 8, and then here it's going to be 4 and 4. So I made a blueprint. It's kind of bulky, so the idea is that this section will be essentially on the outside of the building along with the little chimney bit. So you've got this like bulgy kind of metal bit sticking out, and if you put down a couple of these, they look kind of cool. Right, so in fact, let's do that now. There we go. Alright, so yeah, that, oh shit, well, that, yeah, it kind of looks interesting, I think. Alright, we'll do the same on the other side. Nice, there we go. Alright, so we've got this entrance area where the lift comes up, with the elevator. And it's got like this foyer of sorts. That's very much the idea. And it also gives you more room at the bottom for the logistics. So now we need to do the floor on this side, and that's where we're going to go to the straight bit. And I want a bit of a gap. There we go. I want a bit of a gap in between them so I can put a door there to go to the outside. To go along with the walkable thing for my builds. So I think we'll give them. They've got about a half. I think that should be enough. So look here at the back. Yeah, it gives them just slightly less than a full foundation. Okay, that looks kind of cool. Alright, so now we need to work out the logistics of it. This is where it's going to get a little tricky because this is going to be scrap. So this one should be scrap. You check on Satisfactory modeler what the ratio should be. The 78th and an eighth. How much is an eighth? 1.25. 0.125. I'm gonna put this into all of these ones. There we go. So we'll do this, but this is going to be aluminium solution. There we go. So these 4 excess water need to go equally into these 8. I need to take 2 of them, join them into one pipe, take them down here and split them off the 4. But I also need to make it so that the water that I'm bringing up from over there needs to be added to the mix. But I need to make the water that's coming from here to be prioritized, and I'll show you how to do a VIP junction for exactly that purpose. So let's get a logistics floor here first, and I'm actually going to do it instead of the normal 2 walls high. I'm going to make this one 3 walls high just to give us more room to work with. Okay, there we go. So logistics floor. So now we need to figure out how we're going to do all this water. So let me do a couple of tests and I'll show you guys the result. Right, so we've made some progress. I've got all my, at least this half of the aluminium plant is currently running. And I'll show you guys currently just quickly what I did and how this all works. Because aluminium plant for some people can be quite tricky, and it is to some extent. So all these orange ones, so that orange, and there's an orange belt coming through here. So all of those, as well as those things, that's all the temporary setup. So just so I can sync all the excess product coming through and have the machines run to make sure that everything's running good. So here you can see I'm doing aluminium solution, and all of these 8 aluminium solutions are then feeding these 4, which turn the aluminium solution coming in here into aluminium scrap. Now the scrap's going to go up to foundries to go into aluminium ingots. But for now, just to test the system, I'm having everything sunk over there, as you can see. Now the aim is, if we look over here, we've got 281.25. So 281.25 times 2. So we need to do about 560, 562. So if we go look at this counter, we're sitting at 564, 567. So you see on that side it's a little lower, this side it's a little higher, there it's almost there. So the thing is that will fluctuate. So if you can actually have that number over a long period and then even it out, you should get close to the numbers up here. So that number there, 560 something, shows me that this is working as intended. This one, 522, might need some inspection. Now this this close one here, 561, that's this one, and this one, and the other belt is this one, that one, and that one. So these 2 machines, oh, there you can see now it's overcompensating again. So 572, 78. So if you average that out, that should come to about 560. What did we say? 562.5. All right. So The thing about this one is as soon as you take the aluminium solution in here plus your coal, you're going to come out with aluminium scrap and water. Now the tricky part is to get rid of the water. So I'll show you down here. So what I did with the water is I actually want to take the water and I want to recycle the water and put it back into my system. So you've got the water coming out here, and then from those two machines up here, that's the one water pipe, and then from the other two machines, that's the other water pipe, going all the way down to where I have my VIP junction. Now the reason you need this VIP junction is the water coming up from way over there. I'm currently oversupplying it. I don't want that water coming up here to take the place of the water that I have to get rid of, which is this overflow water, or this excess water, being kind of like a byproduct water. So this water has to be used. You have to do it, otherwise your machines are going to back up, and we obviously don't want that. So the way it works is, if you look at a VIP junction, so this section here, so all you need to see here is you've got this pipe going out, this is one coming in, and this is one coming in. The way this works is a VIP junction is effectively this section right here, and what a VIP junction does, it prioritizes one line over the other one. So this line coming in here will always be first, and this one will be prioritized going into this pipe here. What I mean by that is that because it's at the bottom and it's closest, or let's put it this way, this one is, it's difficult to put it in words, but this is how the system works. So this was kind of like gravity fed to some extent. You got the water falling down here, but when you look at the actual junction section, the lowest pipe will be the first one, or at least will be the one prioritized into a junction like this. So because this one is higher up, the water that's in this pipe will go through, and if there is gaps to fill, this pipe will then fill those gaps. So let's say half a amount of water that this pipe can handle comes through here, and then the pipe will be like, oh, we've got 50% capacity left over, and then this pipe will fill that. But as soon as this pipe comes through with 100% capacity water and there's no room in the pipe, then this one will essentially be blocked off by all the water pushing through here. But as soon as there's a gap, then this one will fill that gap and will push in here. Alright, just going to take a quick break from our construction over there, and I'm just going to do a simple demonstration for you guys. So we've got a demonstration set up here of a normal junction and then a VIP junction. So these water pumps are filling 300 each into this fluid buffer, and in this example, this fluid buffer over here, let's just quickly drain it out, this one should be filled with a pipe of 300, and in this example we need like a 50-50 split. So we need 150 from this pipe, 150 from this pipe, goes into this pipe doing 300, as we can see there, and that fills up our target, which is this fluid buffer over here. So logically speaking, this should be about 150 if you look at the two. So let's just give it a second to show us. There we go. So 150, I would say about 150 on average. You look at this side, same story. So it averages out to about 150. And if you look at the pipe, we are currently doing 300, so that confirms it. So these two pipes are pretty much equally split and then feeding this fluid buffer. But on this scenario, we've got a fluid buffer that needs to be filled with 300 fluids, but it needs to prioritize the red line over the blue line. So whenever the red line is pumping out, in this case 300 fluids, then nothing should be coming from the blue pipe. So this is the same as our aluminium setup, prioritizing one line over the other one, joining up into a single line, feeding a target, this little fluid buffer here. So let me just drain this one again. So if you look at the pipe, you can see 300 is coming in, and if you look at both that little pipe indicator as well as the pump, you can see nothing's happening here. These guys are not doing anything. So whenever there's a gap in this pipe, this one should kick in, and we can see that by the pump going on and this little thing pulsating. So let's do a quick little test. We're going to drain just this pipe segment here, just to simulate the lack of water, and then this guy over here, the blue pipe should pick up the slack. Okay, let's do this quickly. So there we go, it's a slight gap in the pipe. This one then fills up the void. So this should still be 300, perfect. And this one stopped because this one is now pumping 300 again, so it's not, this pipe isn't needed to fill the gaps anymore because there aren't any. So let's do a quick little test, and we're gonna simulate an extensive gap. So I'm gonna flush it once, twice, 3 times. Right, so that pump is kicking in. If we look at our flow rate, we should still be doing 300. All right, it's pushing up to 300 now. So there's a slight gap in production there as this one kicked in to fill this one. And there we can see this pipe is now again doing 300, and the top one has stopped because it no longer needs, or there's no longer room for it. So all the water that's pushing through here is enough to fill the target. Okay, let's get back to it. Alright, so we're back at our plant, and just to reiterate it, so this is our VIP junction. So water is coming, so our prioritized one is going to be this one over here. You see this is the bottom one, goes into the pipes here. These pipe will feed up and goes back into our machines up here. So those ones up here goes into all of these machines. So that recycled water is coming from that section over there. So on these pipes, prioritized pipe is going to be the lowest one hitting the junction, and then the additional water is going to be the top one, and the additional water is coming from way over there. Alright, so next step is I'm going to need to start placing all of our foundries, so let's quickly do that. Let me just have a quick check over here. So this side is all green, perfect. Alright, moving on to the foundries. Right, we placed all our foundries. They still need to be hooked up, and all the belt needs to be done. We've managed to do a bunch of these assemblers as well. I still need to do the constructors, which is probably going to be over there somewhere if I have to guess. Right, next up is going to be hooking everything up, and then starting with some of the decorations, which I'm quite looking forward to. And I'll probably do like some sort of walkway underneath here. But yeah, I've got the second row of machines hooked up. So they're still struggling a little bit with some stuff, so I think I'm missing something, but this right hand side is looking pretty good for the most part. I think all of these machines are either sitting at 98% or 100%. The ones on the side here, as you can see, they're struggling a little bit, so they've got some aluminium solution issues, so we'll figure that out. But for now, let's just get the rest of the machines in and start wrapping it up so it kind of looks like something that is somewhat respectable. Anyways, moving on. We are making progress. Alright, so we've got this one support beam in. We still need to do the other one to wrap it up. But let's have a look at what we've done so far. So this is our little office here. Okay, let's see. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Okay, so we've done refineries for aluminium solution. We've done refineries for the scrap. We've done the foundries. We've done all of the assemblers, and we have done all of the constructors. So things are looking good. We just need to basically wrap up some of the little detail stuff, like there's a little something missing there. We've got some missing there, some missing over there. Obviously we've got this entire support to do, so let's actually fly up there and I'll give you guys a closer look at the state of things at the moment, although they are going to be a little bit rough. Right, I'm sure there's some sort of regulation on braking by flying around with a cup of coffee in hand. Alright, so our support beams, as you can see, is just basically like a little arch coming up here, following the line of the building as it comes in. We've got a little bit of illumination here at the bottom, which are just big billboards with the diagonal lines running across. Looks kind of cool. As you can see, it does move. Gives it a nice little effect. When we go up here, we're basically just wrapping everything up in like this white pillar strip with a little copper trim on it. And then these these kind of like bulging or protruding metal bits. It kind of looks like a rib cage almost, if you want to call it that. I just kind of continue that going all the way around the front side, and then it kind of like comes up here, and it's got like this little decoration bit in here just to highlight the center bit of it. And then continuing with the kind of like wrapping around of white pillars. You can see that happening over there, and then we've got our scrap and everything on the little display area there. This section obviously still needs to be done, and I need to move some of the belts going around, just so we can kind of like fit them in and have that look at the and just to have them. These belts are going to have to be moved at some point, just so they can match this kind of area over here. And then we have to duplicate what we've done here on this side as well, just to wrap it up a little bit more. And then coming to the stop side, I've kind of, it was a bit empty on top here initially, so I decided to do this kind of like little rib cage support effect here. And then at the bottom, you can see I've added these lights in here, which I think looks kind of cool. It just also gives us a little bit more light. And then you've got the wraparound LEDs also going around on the edges here. And as you can see, I'm still busy with a lot of things up here. For the most part, the left hand side is running pretty smooth. For the most part, the right hand side is not running smooth at all. But that's a problem we can figure out soon. And then just kind of like keeping with the theme, I've got this entire open section here, which kind of splits open. So instead of having just a big floor here, I thought let me cut this open, and we can have this section where we can enter the jetpack, and it just also makes the bolt look a little bit more interesting. Coming up here, I think let me switch on my light, otherwise we're not going to see anything. So we got a little walkway coming up here with a little glass section to prevent you from falling through, and also just to make sure that the fumes aren't coming straight into this little walkway here. As you can see, everything here is still pretty much under construction. So our target rate, just FYI, it should be about 562, I think. So anything close to 562 is perfect. Right. And coming back to this point here. So I'm going to be adding lights in here just so we can actually see what the hell's going on here. But moving to the back side here, I'm probably going to do some sort of walkway coming across. We've got the elevator bit mostly done, just like a little display area. I've been trying one or two more things with fluid buffers just to see if I can sort out this bloody Mark II bug that seems to be creeping back in on this side. Now, funny enough is I've essentially got three different, or actually no, correction, I've got four different sets going here. So these four refineries are separate from these four refineries, and the first four is feeding the first two, and the next four in this area here are feeding those two here. So I've essentially got a duplicate of four exactly the same setups for the four refineries, so four groups of refineries, and then each of them need their own pipe to be feeding water into it via this VIP junction. And for the most part, three of the four is working perfectly fine when it comes to fluids, except for one of them, which is the one of these on this right hand side, is not doing what it's supposed to do, even though it's the exact duplicate setup going across the board. So I've been trying a few things to see if I can figure out what the hell's going on here. But yeah, again, bloody fluid dynamics is screwing us quite a bit when it comes to these VIP junctions. So you saw with the demonstration I did before, I was using Mark I pipes and everything was working perfectly fine. And I've got the exact same setup here, but using Mark II pipes, and this is now causing issues. But I'm sure we'll figure it out, or we can just wait for 1.2 update, which is it's still going to be like another month or so. So we'll see how it goes. But let me wrap up the last little bit of decoration, and I'll show you what the final board looks like. Right, and we're done. That is our aluminium plant up and running. So we'll start from here, which is our water extractors. So these 6 guys feed that entire building, and we've got this nice little curved walkway. Quite happy with the way this one turned out. Looking up here, we can see the different supports for the building. 2 really big ass supports going all the way out to the front. Looks very, very nice. And we've got that gap in the middle as well. So let's go have a closer look. So actually, before we get there, let's quickly do this side. So we can use the walkway since we made it for this purpose. So all the supplies are coming from this train station over here, which is effectively 3 train stations kind of like clumped together. And I'll show you what it looks like. So we've got our silica, coal, bauxite, everything is coming through here. And then going down into a couple of bins, and then out to the bus over here. And from here, all the supplies, as you can see below me, is being pushed up all the way from this bus to the vertical bus, or I know some people like to call it a conveyor waterfall. Anyways, so we got our water coming in here. We've got our pumps pumping everything up on the back side here. So we got our water being pumped up to this section here. We've got another set of pumps making sure that it gets enough head lift. And then from here we can go into our elevator. And we'll head to the top floor. And get a bit of a closer look at these supports. Look kind of cool. I like them. Anyways, we're going to push up through these various sections here. And go right up to the top. Okay, so we've got our assemblers doing the alkali sheets, and then we've got our constructors here doing casings. Same story on that side. And if you walk out here to this little patio kind of area, you can look out over the entire Spire coast with those power generators there at the back. We've got our water packaging plant over there. We've got this is the heavy oil residue factory. Then over to the diluted fuel factory, and then that's all pumped to our power stations, number 1, 2, and 3. And then right here, right, so we've got our little lookout point here, which the idea was to kind of go for like a ship design to some extent. So we've got like the bridge section over here, and we've got the actual hull of the ship. So very loosely, and the top section here was a little sparse, so I added these like white ripped effect here. And if we head downstairs a little bit, you can see we've got our secondary production floor. Some more aluminium casings coming down here, as well as additional outlet sheets coming from that production floor right up here. We can actually quickly float up here. There we go. So that's the one production floor. Got a logic floor at the bottom that is also fully accessible if you want to walk there. We've got our first production floor, which then sits right next to all of our foundries producing the aluminium ingots, or at least, taking the scrap and then turning that into aluminium ingots along with the copper. So you can see them going past there, and that's all going back to our production floors at the back there. And then if we go all the way down here, we've got our main production floor, which houses all of our refineries. And now you can kind of see this roof design really kind of ties everything together to get this kind of like a rib effect going down here with the little light beam at the bottom. And it all kind of like connects here to the backside, looking very industrial, kind of like sleek, futuristic and industrial. We can even go outside if you want to check on the pipes. We can just exit through this whole section here, and now we can see the little, essentially outside. We've got our water pipes coming in here. We've got our aluminium solution pipes coming into the refineries, turning that into scrap. And coming back to the front section here, we can see the little decoration bits we did here. Just for a little accent, looks kind of cool. We can see that we can also walk around on this side if we need to. Alright, coming down. And we've got another waterfall conveyor system pushing up all the scrap towards the foundries upstairs. Alright, coming back to the main floor here, main refining floor. As you can see, we've got this. I really like the way those lights came out. You know, this kind of like a ribbed with the light accentuating the curve and the angles. So we'll head over to our first production floor. And here we've got our branch junctions, as I showed you guys earlier, or at least VIP junctions. These ones seem to be doing the trick now. I did a couple of testing when it comes to buffers and fluid buffers, and redid the pipes a couple of times, but this design I think is now working as intended. And if you look on the other side, we've got exactly the same setup over the side as well. And the water again comes from here. This is our priority water, which then comes down and then enters the VIP junction at the bottom, which then prioritizes it, and then any kind of gaps left over for water will be filled by this top section over here. Well, that's it for my aluminium plant. And as usual, I'd like to thank my patrons. Your continuous support is what allows me to do these kind of builds, so I appreciate every single one of you guys. For those interested in my world save, you can find that on my Patreon, along with a number of blueprints that I used in this build, as well as the actual building that will be up as a mega print that you can download and place anywhere in your world. If you'd like to join my Patreon, please check the description below or join my Discord and you can find all the relevant information there. And I'll see you guys on the next one.